when the portal is open at the same time as kids are high school kids are deciding, can you kind of define your role and how you help Coach Norvell? He talked about having a huge spreadsheet. Like, what would you say your role is, the day-to-day, well, all season really, but especially these last couple of months?
Yeah, ultimately, like relating to the portal for your direct question, there's many people involved that are taking that first look and kind of the initial filter as guys go in. So John Garrett, J.C. Krause, who are two directors of scouting on each side of the ball, along with Chuck Canner and Michael Zerby and Jeremy Smith, they're going to make sure and they filter through every portal entry to see if there's a potential, they fit our parameters. If they do, we'll move them to the next level and kind of go from there and work the process, get them in front of our coaches, and just send out those different alerts to make sure they're in the system, and then get our evaluation and have multiple eyes on there to understand if they're a fit for us athletically first. And then from there, kind of go how the recruiting process takes over and start collecting some information to see if there'll be a fit on their character as well.
But unlike high school recruiting where you can build up a relationship for, 18 months, 2 years, this is 2 weeks.
Yep.
How do you not chase your tail on guys that you have no chance with and other guys that you have a real good chance with? How do you do that? How do you decipher who you're in good with?
Yeah, there's two quotes kind of that you kind of want to live by in that, like the old John Wooden quote, be quick but don't hurry.
Right.
You have to be fast on this and kind of make decisions quick, and as soon as they go in, have an idea. But at the same time, you want to make sure the information you're getting is clear and concise so you can make accurate decisions quickly. Because like you said, it does move very quickly. And in order to make the best decision, it's hard to collect information that fast, but you kind of want to have pre-existing relationships that may have come. Maybe you recruited that person before, maybe you understand, or just trying to collect quickly as far as where they're coming from. Maybe you have a coach or someone knows a coach on that staff, getting some character background, calling the high school coach, and everything in between that to really find out what that person is wired like and is exactly why they're entering the portal, because usually there's a reason.
But first things first, you have to see their film, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Is that immediately? Like, okay, I want to watch, like a kid from Shorter College. How do you go about knowing, okay, this kid is not only a decent player, he could be a star at this level?
Yeah, so Shorter College was unique. Typically, if anyone goes in from the FCS or FBS level, we have access through PFF, so we can watch film as long as you're connected to internet anywhere. Through PFF that way, just a quick video. We always upload it to Exos too, so we can watch that from our phones as soon as it's uploaded into the system. And the short for Kyle specifically, he had a huddle link that was able to send out, so that was relatively pretty easy to do too, and just send out that link and be able to evaluate from there. So it's easy once we evaluate and go from there and find out if we want to pursue and find out more from there.
Is there a way, like for high school guys, you're able to get into camp and verify different heights, weights, or transfer prospects? Is that more kind of a leap of faith?
A little bit. I think 6 degrees of separation, right? You're going to find out that probably someone on our staff, with it being so big, you're going to know someone there to kind of generally talk about the kid, maybe his size. This is for the older guys. A lot of times the NFL will have some sort of measurement on them too, so we can get verified measurables and everything we need, and using our contacts and our networks there just to kind of go. But measurements aren't an end-all be-all for someone. If we're going to recruit someone, we just want to make sure they fit in the general parameters and kind of take everything into consideration from there. But it is a lot quickly. We want to make sure that we're definitely taking the right ones. And I think that starts with Coach Norvell himself. He's done an excellent job identifying those guys.
Do you go into the portal too? Like Coach Norvell talked about it. Like last year, you hit the transfer wide receiver world hard. This year, you didn't need it. Do you go into like December 5th or whenever National Portal Day is, going, okay, these are the numbers we have at these positions. This is what we're trying to fill. Is it that specific going into December 5th or 6th?
It can be, but also, you want to take anyone who's necessarily going to upgrade your roster too. And so if there's an outstanding fit or someone that's available there, you want to take a hard look at them to see if, one, they're going to be a fit, they're going to work in the locker room, and they're going to fit with what our character of our overall team is. But there is some numbers like, hey, we need to address these because we're a little thin in certain areas, then yes, we'll do that as well. So there are some targets, but other parts of it are very fluid as well.
As Coach Norbell this earlier, the balancing act of whether guys are leaving for pros or transfer portal and just deciding what to do next versus like how many guys to bring in and transfers, high school recruits. Guys, what is that process like? How tedious is that element given this is all moving as fast as it ever has right now?
Yeah, it changes daily, obviously, with the portal and who's going in, but roster retention is just as much important as recruiting, right? There's 3 areas in how to build your roster. You have recruiting obviously from the high school ranks, and that happens through the portal, through junior college, or through the traditional high school way. But then you also have development that comes in. So you might have a walk-on that turns into a great player, which we've had that before here, right? You may also take someone out of the portal. Well, also the other thing, when you retain certain people that you develop, that's the most important piece. Because if you have hit, you want to make sure they stay here for those 4 years. So that's just as important as getting the right one in recruiting as well.
The 3 transfer offensive linemen that you've added, and what do they bring to the mix immediately?
Yeah, versatility first and foremost for the ability. They can move all kind of different ways and fill different roles, but also they add some much needed depth for us. Ideally you want to have 10 that you can count on, and so I think that brings us closer to that number. But the ability, they have some great playing experience. They can hold up against the bigger aggressive lines that we're going to face in the following years. And I think it just allows us to kind of provide that development future for some of our younger guys as well.
I'm sure when you're recruiting guys in the portal at certain positions, you have guys that have still not made decisions about, or announced anyway, what they're doing. Are those guys in the portal like, hey, do you know what Jared's going to do? Do you know what Jamie's like? Are you having to have those conversations?
Yeah, some of those conversations do come up, but we want to be as transparent as possible with that. To say, hey, this is what exactly those situations are. We're not sure yet, but at the very least, 2 is better than 1, obviously, right? Just for depth purposes, and it allows it to be fresher. So if we can get, if we could go find another Jared Verse, yes, I'm all in with that for obvious reasons. But I think you can never have enough pass rushers. You can never have enough offensive linemen. You can never have enough playmaking receivers. So if we can find any of those guys in the portal, we want to make sure we're always looking and giving a hard look for those positions.
So what is Jared going to do?
Yeah, I'm unsure.
So your job obviously still isn't over. I mean, the roster is still being built. That's the reality of this. It used to be National Signing Day was a wrap for the most part, but now not only do you have another signing day in 6 weeks, you have the portal that's still wide open.
Yeah, roster's never over.
Right.
You're always looking and kind of looking at different ways, and at the same time being aware of what your current team is doing. Because again, your current team is the most important thing. Right? Retention is the most important thing, along with recruiting, to making sure you're getting the right fits and you're keeping the right ones here. So that can obviously change day by day, but making sure you have a great awareness of what's happened with your current team, because that's going to address what you might need to fill via the portal, junior college, or high school recruiting as well.
Coach Norvell said that the most, I think a paraphrase, but the most essential needs were hit. He felt good about it. There's still maybe guys that are added, but it feels good in that regard. For you as the GM, is that kind of a relief? Okay, they're the most bare bone essential things we had to hit are done right now?
Yeah, I think you look at it like we did hit our needs. You look at our position by position, and we hit 5 of our top priorities as far as getting the number 1 target that we want. So obviously very pleased with that. But you look around, I think this is a balanced class, and there were some priorities that we wanted to hit and make sure we're hitting those across the position. Very pleased with how it's turned out.